Thanks for joining me. I'm at Ben's_best_bets in my new studio. It's a time to look to the future that is 2022 and see what lies ahead. That includes the NFL awards that are given out before the Super Bowl every year, but they are exclusively regular season awards. And even though there's only 2 weeks left in this now 17-week regular season, there's still value on the board. I really excel in looking at a slate of futures picks and seeing which players stand out like a sore thumb. I'm gonna share them with you. I mean, you're listening to a guy who got Matt LaFleur Coach of the Year at plus 900 just 2 weeks ago. That was on December 13th. He's now plus 150. He's the odds-on favorite. I got his quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, at plus 1100 on Halloween. He's now minus 175. It would be a shocker if he doesn't win now. Oh, and I have Jonathan Taylor, the great running back in Indianapolis. I have him at plus 2000 on November 25th. He's still plus 700. He's probably not gonna win, but that's pretty good coverage if Rodgers shits the bed in this last 2 weeks. And I don't know what sports book you guys use, but for example, I can cash out that bet at 3 times my investment right now. So it's not always about the bet hitting. It's about being able to cash out along the way as well, especially when it comes to futures bets, because odds can just change so incredibly dramatically based off what happens week to week. So here are my thoughts on the Defensive Player of the Year, the Offensive Rookie of the Year, and I have a great bet for the quarterback that's going to throw the most interceptions. Defensive Player of the Year first. TJ Watt is currently odds-on favorite plus 140. He's leading the league in sacks, but currently he has cracked ribs, and he's on a team with just a 12% chance to make the playoffs. Although he is still going against 2 subpar offensive lines to close out the season, there's just absolutely no value here for me whatsoever. The one thing he has going for him is that he has not received this award yet, and sometimes they do take that into consideration because he is a player that probably should have 1 or 2 by the time his career comes to an end. Now, the national media absolutely love the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, we all know this. But if you took a shot every time a broadcaster mentions how good Micah Parsons is, you would be blackout drunk by the first quarter. He's a second favorite. He's plus 250. Pretty good odds in my opinion. But what you've got to remember is the numbers really matter. So in the moment, yes, he's an absolute superstar on defense, and his numbers are phenomenal, but let's just delve into them a little bit deeper. It's his pass rushing ability from the linebacker position that really makes him special. He ranks 2nd in tackles for loss. He ranks 6th in sacks, 3rd in quarterback hits. So while that makes him an absolutely elite pass rusher, he doesn't lead any specific category. Now look at the other roles of a linebacker. He's 68th in the league in tackles. He's only defended 2 passes and he has 0 picks on the year. That's not what you're paying him to do. That's not why he's elite. But those numbers are pretty much nil. You'd like him to contribute at least a tiny bit in those categories. Now let's have some context. He does have the most fantasy points for a defensive player. Obviously, people who are voting for this award, they don't care about fantasy numbers, but it is a good way to illustrate just how effective and well-rounded he's been. The best case that I can make for Micah Parsons to win is that at this point, his stats are better in pretty much every category than when Khalil Mack won back in 2016. And Parsons is going to have the benefit of having 1 extra game in his schedule, although a little caveat to that is Khalil Mack only won that award by literally 1 vote over Von Miller. So while I like Micah Parsons at plus 250, to me, his teammate Trayvon Diggs at plus 600, that's my pick. What sets him apart is just how much better his numbers were than any other secondary player really in the league. He has 11 picks on the season. That's tied for the most in Cowboys history, and is tied with a guy who is also the most recent player to get 11 picks in a season. That was all the way back in 1981. 40 years ago was the last time that anyone got 11 picks on the season. It doesn't really happen in the modern age anymore. 2 of those picks he took to the house. 21 passes defended is the absolute best in the league. For me, the numbers really speak for themselves. What he's done this year has been nothing short of historic. Yes, Parsons has been absolutely elite, but in 10 years, when we're looking back at some of the greatest defensive performances of a player in a single season, Diggs' numbers are really gonna pop. And I wouldn't bet against him adding to his tally, courtesy of a couple of mobile quarterbacks in Jalen Hurts and Kyler Murray. Murray averages about a pick a game, and Hurts threw 2 picks last time he faced the Cowboys. One of them was to Diggs, and that was one of the 2 he took to the house. Remember what I said at the start about Jonathan Taylor? He probably won't win, but I can get 3 times the value if I cash out right now. I think that's going to be the case with Nick Bosa as well. He's at plus 1,800. He's a sneaky dark horse to win the whole thing. 15 sacks on the season. That's 3rd. 30 quarterback hits is 2nd. And he should rack up plenty more against the Texans this Sunday. He's got 4 forced fumbles on the season. his 19 tackles for a loss is the best in the league, and San Francisco have a 75% chance to make the playoffs, and I think team success matters. In summary, bet Diggs for sure plus 600 before Sunday. If you want to spread the love and get in on Parsons too, absolutely feel free to do that. I just don't see it going to TJ. He leads the league in sacks, sure, but not by a ton, not by a significant amount. He's only a half a sack above Robert Quinn. The Cowboys will probably go 13-4, and Pittsburgh could circle the drain and finish 7-9-1. And with Nick Bosa, not saying he's gonna win, but he's 18-1 right now, I guarantee by the time the season's over, he'll be looking more like 10-1 or so. Get that cash out opportunity. Now let's have a look at Offensive Rookie of the Year. Now it's very unlikely that the Patriots miss the postseason at this point, unless they have an absolute meltdown against Jacksonville on Sunday, but that's probably as automatic of a W as you're gonna get. But Mac Jones has middle of the pack quarterback numbers. Not bad by a rookie by any means, especially when he was the 4th quarterback taken in the draft. But I think some of the love he's getting is in comparison to those other absolutely stinking rookie quarterbacks. And we all know how important coaching is in New England as well. So let's say the Pats go 1-1. Let's say they lose to Miami on that last week. They'll finish 10-7. They'll probably still sneak into the playoffs. But at minus 450, no one should be betting Mac Jones right now. There's absolutely no upside to doing that. So let's switch our attention to the 2 absolutely studly rookie wide receivers. I think both of them have to have their teams into the playoffs for them to be considered, but I also think that both of those things can happen. Jamar Chase is plus 300. He gets all the headlines because he's teaming up with his old LSU Tiger teammate Joe Burrow, and that Bengals offense is absolutely humming along, one of the best in the league. And to be fair, he does have double the touchdowns and double the yards per reception than his fellow top 10 pick Jalen Waddle. But he has just 68 receptions on 112 targets. That's a pretty crappy catch rate. Chase still has to play a top tier Chiefs defense and a Browns team that held him to 49 yards earlier this season. His numbers are also heavily inflated due to a Packers game where he got 159 yards, 70 of which came on one play, and he also got 201 yards against the Baltimore Ravens. 82 of those yards came on one play as well. They all count the same here in those yards, but I'm just saying now, I'm just saying. But I'm telling you about this category because you have to bet a bit on Jalen Waddle. Why? Because he's gonna win? Not necessarily, but right now he's plus 6600. That is insane. It's 66-1. They're saying it's a 2-horse race, but I truly believe it is a 3-horse race. This Dolphins team has won 7 games in a row. And yes, he's not a deep threat, but that's purely based off the quarterback in my opinion. He plays with Tua, the checkdown king. Chase is surrounded by the likes of Joe Mixon. He's surrounded by Boyd, he's surrounded by Higgins. Who's Waddle got? Duke Johnson and sometimes Devontae Parker. Come on. I think it's fairly safe to say that Waddle is of greater impact to Miami than Chase is to the Cincinnati Bengals. And obviously we've had this debate forever. What does MVP mean? Is it most valuable to your team? Who's the best? Whatever. I'm just saying what Waddle's doing in Miami, to me, with the supporting cast he has, is more impressive than what Chase is doing. And this isn't all just perception or optics. It's stats as well. He's 6th in the entire league amongst receivers with 96 receptions. So he'll blow by the all-time record of catches set by a rookie, and that was set by Anquan Boldin in 2003. And Anquan obviously won Rookie of the Year that year, by the way. Obviously, don't bet on Mac. The bookmakers are making it impossible for you to get any kind of value on that right now. But you look at the odds, Chase is plus 300 and Waddle is 66-1. Easily by season's end, these 3 could be locked in a somewhat dead heat. If Mac limps down the stretch, while Chase gets cold, Waddle could ball out. And then you can feel free to hedge your bets on Chase if you'd like. The last 2 categories, we've broken down the top 3 favorites, and I've told you where the value is. In this last one, I'm just gonna get straight to the point. Most interceptions thrown in the season. Trevor Lawrence is the favorite at plus 300, and that is absolutely the bet to make. He still has to go up against Bill Belichick. Belichick famously just crushes the hopes and dreams of rookie quarterbacks. The Pats, for example, are 2nd in the league with 20 interceptions. Zach Wilson, the rookie quarterback for the Jets, he accounted for 6 of those by himself. Even second-year quarterbacks aren't safe. The Pats picked up Tua earlier in the year, picked up Justin Herbert twice. Inexperienced quarterbacks have always struggled against Belichick. I would bet he throws at least 2 more this weekend. Then the following week, he plays the Colts. Now the Jags actually hung in there when they played the Colts earlier in the year, only losing 17-23. And although Lawrence did not throw a pick in that game, he was a measly 16 for 35. For 162 yards. So he clearly can't match up against that elite Indianapolis defense, and I'm sure he's due another pick that week as well. Also, let's look ahead at game script. Your stud running back just tore his Achilles, So why not just throw the ball all over the yard if you're Jacksonville? Let's see how Lawrence does. Let's see how much he's developed from week 1 till now. Obviously, Urban Meyer was his head coach, so not much, but that's why he's going to throw all these picks. But also, picks aren't that bad if you're the Jaguars. That will have a direct correlation to the likelihood that you're going to finish with the #1 overall pick again for the 2nd year in a row. The last time that happened not too long ago, the Browns in 2017-2018. Get your quarterback Baker Mayfield, get an elite pass rusher Myles Garrett. So there you are, Jags fans. Maybe in a few years, if you're really lucky, you can be an overhyped, really mediocre team as well. So if right now you go put some money on Trayvon Diggs, Jalen Waddle, and Trevor Lawrence, I guarantee you, you will make money. The more money you bet, the more money you make. This is going to be a big year for the Casual Fan Podcast. Really excited for it. I'm personally pumped to make a ton of money this year in betting on sports, and I'm going to share those insights with you. I'm going on vacation for the next week, so there'll be a bit of a dip there. But then I'm going to come at you pretty much every day, whether you like it or not. Maybe not YouTube every day, but especially TikTok at Ben's_best_bets on Twitter as well. Please like the Casual Fan Podcast videos on YouTube and TikTok. Cheers.